Everybody, and welcome to this webinar/podcast series. I'm calling it The Business of Neurofeedback. I'm Miriam Bellamy of Whole Family Neurofeedback, and I have with me today Craig Walker. And Craig has had a fair amount of experience using neurofeedback, and wanted to interview him today about what he's learned in the business, how he got started in neurofeedback, why he chose Neuroptimal, and that kind of thing. So welcome, Craig.
Well, thank you for having me, and good to chat with you.
Yeah, you too. We've had a lot of interaction over with tech support, and it's really cool to see your face and be able to do this with you.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. You're very helpful.
That's a good thing here.
I bet. Yeah. So first of all, tell us where you are, what is your, or was your neurofeedback business, what you're doing now with neurofeedback, and we'll start from there.
Sure, yeah. I'm in Northern California in the Cameron Park Shingle Springs area, which is just west of Sacramento, or east, excuse me, of Sacramento, fairly close, midway between San Francisco and Lake Tahoe. And my company name is NorCal Neurofeedback. I'm a certified advanced neurooptimal trainer, but I'm really focusing primarily now on the back end support of the system and working with the Facebook groups as kind of, I like to call myself a curator of content and support person. And really enjoying just the totality of the experience with Neuroptimal, if you will.
Okay.
Really thrilled with that.
That is one of the things that I've noted doing these interviews, is that with Neuroptimal, there are a lot of options that people have. You don't have to do just an in-office practice. You can also do rentals. You can become a sales rep, and then you add another dimension where you're a real active part of tech support there.
Right, and you're exactly right, because there are so many avenues working with people as a trainer, using the system and purchasing more units to rent them out and help people that way, going out and talking in the community about it, and support in general, because we really are a community. Neuroptimal is an incredible community of some wonderful, absolutely wonderful and marvelous folks, and it's just a real thrill for me to be engaged in that.
How long ago did you get started, and how did you get started with Neuroptimal?
Well, it was interesting. I got started in January of 2015 with my first demo. I had experience with linear neurofeedback, or as they say, traditional neurofeedback, back in 2010, which really got the ball rolling for me in terms of excitement on understanding more about neurofeedback. As I was winding down my career in local government, a science-related career, I was looking more for, taking care of myself. And so I went down the avenue of looking at holistic forms of help, hypnotherapy, guided imagery, neurofeedback came into play. I read A Symphony in the Brain, which just dazzled me. And I'm like, I gotta get in. Yeah, I got to get into this bad boy. And, with family members who were having difficulty, as well as my own personal issues, had an opportunity to get a demo of Neuroptimal, through a local practitioner here in Sacramento, really wonderful gentleman named Jonathan Harris, gave me a demo, and it just sang to me, literally. I got it immediately. It was like, this amazing. This is fantastic.
What did you feel, Craig?
I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say that, oh my God, I had this miraculous experience in terms of, I knew it was changing my brain, because it wasn't. It was just listening into it. But I just really understood the modality. I just got it.
Okay. The philosophy, the approach resonated with you.
The philosophy, the approach, the gentleness of it, the listening into the brain, the mindfulness for the brain aspect of it, if you will, the orienting response. And at the time, my mother was really in bad shape with Alzheimer's and bipolar disorder, in her 80s. And I realized that, I could use this with her because there was no strive task involved. And, as we started sessions, she slept through most of them, which was perfectly fine. That's what I loved about it. And, as I said, as I got that experience, it was like an aha moment.
Okay. That you could help other people too?
Yes, there was a selfish aspect of helping myself first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, something that was gentle and easy to do, easy to learn. Um, in terms of, not having to go through 3,000 hours of some kind of, practicum or, BC, FI. I'm not sure if I got the acronym right, but some kind of really intense training and certification. This was really neat for me. It was an opportunity to get going, hit the ground running, so to speak.
Yeah. So how did you start your business?
Well, after that demo session on an impulse buy, I bought a Pro System, and I had already started a business in hypnotherapy and also in the use of sound.
Okay.
The work of Jeffrey Thompson, the use of his music in a what he calls a vibroacoustic or a neuroacoustic chair. And so I already had a business in its kind of fledgling stages beginning, working with a colleague of mine who's a therapist. And Neuroptimal was like, okay, this is it. And ultimately, Miriam, when I focused solely on Neuroptimal because of its power, that's when things started to blossom for me.
Okay. Yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I had my hand in, I had a diploma in hypnotherapy, certification in Ericksonian, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Experience.
Are you a therapist?
Excuse me?
Are you a therapist?
No, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I was studying hypnotherapy with the idea that I would move on and work towards that, become a therapist. But things change, and when I got into Neuroptimal, I thought, well, this is it, and focus my energies and my time on something that's just so easy to learn and use and help others with.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying when you got clear and really focused on using Neuroptimal, that's when the business started to take off for you?
Yeah, that was when the idea of the professional transformation in combination with the personal transformation that's offered through Neuroptimal, that's when it really started to gel for me. And also through the experience of working with people, primarily my mom at that time, and watching some amazing things happen. And subtle and seamless changes, leading up to these, wow, look at where she's at now moments.
Yeah. So can you say a little bit about that? Because you've posted a lot of videos of her. I had seen those videos and I had interactions with you separately. I finally put the two together several months ago, but it's like, oh my God, that's Greg. Can you talk a little bit about
yeah, sure.
There and yeah.
Mother in October, November of 2014 really had an intense bout of mania, lifelong issues with bipolar disorder, primarily undiagnosed. And then following that, she had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. And my thought is that the deterioration of her brain kind of triggered a manic episode. It was not a fun experience. And she was in a really bad place, during that time and afterwards. And so, it took a while for me to get from there to Neuroptimal to the idea of, you know what, I should just train mom and see what happens.
Mm.
Because, it was March, I think, of 2015 when I was messaging family on Facebook to come and visit because, it didn't seem like she was going to last much longer.
Wow.
Things had really gone downhill. And then the idea came to me, that's expensive equipment, go train her. And so we started. And, as I said, she slept through most of the sessions and seemed to enjoy it. And then I got the idea of, from reading Oliver Sacks' book, finally getting to it, Musicophilia, and, seeing some posts on social media pages about the power of music working with the elderly population. I said to her, I asked her what was her favorite music, and she was able to tell me she loved the Three Tenors. Mm-hmm. And so I downloaded, several of the YouTube videos of the Three Tenors, and ultimately just stuck with one from, I think it was the 1994 Los Angeles concert. And I incorporated that into Neuroptimal. I downloaded it, converted the video to a format that Neuroptimal can use, which wasn't that difficult, really, to be honest with you.
One of the nice benefits of Neuroptimal is you can integrate your own music into it. You can create your own playlist. Yeah.
The wonderful thing about Neuroptimal is the simple fact that it uses the audio and it can also use video as the foundational layer for the neurofeedback. Mm-hmm. It lends to so many opportunities for you to basically catch someone, where they're at. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I got her hooked up and the Three Tenors came on, I didn't need to use anything else.
Wow.
She listened to that every single time. And ultimately, because she had a roommate who was kind of a, rather negative influence on her, and I got concerned again about her own mental wellness. Mm-hmm. I started training her daily. The beauty of Neuroptimal is it's that gentle. And that's when things really took off for her. She stopped nail biting, a lifelong habit where she used to bite the nails to the quick. Wow. To one day I'm walking in and I wasn't as clued in to looking for subtle and seamless change as I've learned to do. And I'm watching someone paint her nails. And I said, what'd you do? Did you put fake nails on her? And she goes, no, silly. She stopped biting her nails 2 weeks ago. That was amazing.
Wow.
That's one of those moments where, okay, what else is different?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I sure do.
Yeah. So, she's had well over 100 sessions. I don't regularly train her as much now. Yeah, I've got some time constraints. Mm-hmm. She's doing very well. We're not talking cure here because Neuroptimal is not a medical device. It's a general wellness product. Mm-hmm. But it certainly has assisted her in training her brain and helping her utilize what she has to the fullest of her capabilities. Mm-hmm. And, I'm really, I don't want to tear up and get too emotional on it, but, for the first time in her life, she's happy.
Wow.
And she's in a nursing home.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. She told, Italian mother with 4 boys, don't ever send me to the nursing home, right?
Wow.
And every time I see her, Miriam, I'm so grateful because she looks at me with a smile on her face and says, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
You bet.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So that's been a big part of your springboard, to get deeper into it, understand it more experientially, like right from your bones.
Yeah, I look at this kind of a movable feast, if you will, in terms of really learning and understanding everything that I can about Neuroptimal and helping others to, with their support issues, to gain the same opportunity to experience it in the way that I was able to. Mm-hmm. And so, it's just, to me, it's a thrill to be able to help someone get there.
Yeah.
Even if it's, I had a problem with a Windows update. What do I do now?
Yeah, we have those, don't we? Well, let's go back to talking a little bit more about the business side of it. What would you say has been helpful for you in terms of marketing, in terms of building that business? What has really worked, and what have you learned along the way that doesn't work?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing that anyone who wants to use Neuroptimal, really understand Neuroptimal first. Understand the branding of it. Understand that it's training, not that it is not a medical device, that it is a general wellness product for brain training and optimization. And once you get to that place, then work on your elevator speech, for talking to people in general. My elevator speech is pretty simple. It's more of a visual. I have I don't have it with me, but I've got a card that's small enough to fit in the wallet. That's a picture of mom before and after. And then on the back of is an image of an Neuroptimal system. And if someone says, "What do you do?" I tell them I'm a personal transformation facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's that? And I bring out the card, and usually that offers the opportunity to go further, with their questions being the lead to me. So it's not it's not a very long elevator speech. It's more of a conversation based upon presenting something that catches their eye, and then getting out there. I think talking to people in the community, networking with others in similar businesses and ventures, working with people who, maybe massage therapists or physical trainers or chiropractors, just networking and interacting and letting people know you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then talks and demonstrations have worked really well for me because I've got the perfect person to demonstrate Neuroptimal. I bring my mom with me.
Do you really?
Right. And so, she is bubbly and engaging, and no one would even recognize or believe that she has a diagnosis of Alzheimer's.
Mm.
And she loves to talk about her experience. So again, I don't have to do much talking. I'm more kind of supporting her role in helping her son make a living, which she just loves doing.
Yeah.
And so, that, I think, getting out there, sharing personal experiences have worked really well. What has not worked? Paid advertising and marketing, endless social media posts on my page, in competition with everyone else who's trying to, be heard, so to speak.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
Yeah, there is a lot of noise. And so, I think the main thing for me that's been real successful is getting out there.
Okay.
And based upon really understanding how to talk about Neuroptimal.
Okay. The philosophy, the approach.
The philosophy in a confident manner that is more of leading people to an opportunity if they wish to experience it. Not salesy, not pushy, just open.
Yes, authentic, talking about yourself. I mean, you have such a powerful story, such a powerful experience with it. It speaks for itself. You don't have to do a lot of selling,
Yeah, very in that regard.
Yeah, I work hard at that too. Is just to try to be honest, talk about, what works, what doesn't, where does it help,
Right.
what are realistic expectations. Yeah, so maybe talk just a little bit about the philosophy because you may or may not know, but I'm a therapist and I come from a systems approach. Right. And that's actually an unconventional approach, unfortunately. We are very accustomed, even in my industry, to think of things linearly. A plus B equals C. And so if you shift that, you'll get the result you're looking for. And it's just human changes and human families are complex. And it's hard to begin to think systemically. And that's what Neuroptimal is. It's a systemic approach. We're dealing with the whole brain. We're not dealing with this part of the brain or that part of the brain or whatever. Can you add to that? Yeah.
I like to look at it in terms of life, my own life. It has not been linear. It has not gone the way that I envisioned from point A to point whatever. It's not Z yet. We're not
Yeah, right? What is C anymore? I don't know.
I don't want the end. I don't want to write the end of the story before, I'm still in the midst of it. And seriously, it has been this kind of this peak, this valley, this 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, this punctuated movement along the path of my life. That's what neurooptimal is. It's
Yeah.
dynamic, nonlinear. It's looking at the brain in terms of its electrical activity as presented, in the model of Carl Pribram's, model of the brain as a hologram in terms of memory and perception. You can't cut a memory out of the brain. It resides everywhere and nowhere.
They're still looking for that, though, aren't they? Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Right. And Val's magnificent approach with Neurooptimal, following
Who's Val?
Valdine W. Brown, who I call Val, most everyone calls Val, is along with his wife Susan Brown, both clinical psychologists who have, goodness, between the two of them, 50 some odd years of experience in neurofeedback. And Val was a trainer of trainers in, what was available at the time, the linear approach. And, he tells the story of when he was in his teens, having this idea of brain training. And, he's brilliant and has a background in mathematics and physics and martial arts. And, he's done he's been a clinical psychologist working with some profound issues and trainer of trainers of others for neurofeedback. So, Val and Sue's, his partner, she's a clinical psychologist, and a nurse, I believe. They got together and developed Neurooptimal and did a magnificent job of it. And his philosophy, he met Carl Pribram while he was in college, and Carl had come to, I think it was Georgetown. I'm not positive. Val might remind me of where it was later today if he hears this podcast. But that was his first experience with Carl's work. And Carl Pribram was a neuroscientist who took the approach of Dennis. I want to say it's Dennis. I can't remember who it was that got the Nobel Prize. There's my senior moment for the mathematics of the hologram, and incorporated that into his work. And so Val and Carl later on connected, and they were co-presenting this idea. Val, along with his neurofeedback experience, bringing forward an approach that moved from linear to his 5-phase model and his period 3 approach, and then ultimately into NeuroCare Pro and then Neurooptimal. And bringing to fruition his idea back when he was a teen that he wanted to provide the opportunity for people to be able to train their brains, and not have to have a white coat and, heavy duty credentials. Make it easy for anyone to do. And, I'm just really thankful and grateful that I have an opportunity to know him and to learn from him and to utilize the tool that he created along with Sue. Dengar company.
And part of the business is helping our clients understand or begin to step back from their lives and think, not necessarily they have to get all the math, I certainly don't, but understanding life as a process.
Right.
So for me, it's a big part of the business is helping people understand the process piece of it so they can get the most out of the neurofeedback. It's not just something you're going to fix a problem, and then you're done, right? It's a process, and that's part of the business, I think.
Yes, exactly. And, helping people to understand that they have within them, within their own brains and their own central nervous system, everything they need. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of Neuroptimal is it dances with the brain's electrical activity and mirrors it back to the brain to give it an opportunity to do what it does best all the time, right? Process information, take it in, and decide what to do with that. And that's a really neat approach. And I like the fact that we have the opportunity to help our clients recognize that I am not doing it. They are doing what they need to do for themselves with their brains and their central nervous systems just responding to its own electrical activity.
Yeah, I think it's empowering. It has been for me in the sense it's like, I'm saying it now is my brain has my back. And for somebody who's dealt with chronic illness, a good part of my life, it's like you start losing that feeling that your body has your back, With this, it's that. Go ahead.
No, it's a beautiful way to put it. I love that.
Yeah. So we just have a few more minutes, and I want to talk a little more business if we can. Has the decision to start a neurofeedback business, a Neuroptimal business, been financially viable for you?
Yes, I would say it's been nonlinear and dynamical. It's progression.
Yeah.
You take the plunge, you take that initial investment. You're learning the ropes as you go. You've got some qualms about I need to make this post and whatnot, and then all of a sudden things take off. For me, it's things have taken off. I've moved in a different direction. Things have taken off. For me, it's been a very fluid opportunity to take a lot of aspects of how to work with Neuroptimal and build a business associated with it.
Okay.
So,
how long would
I'm thrilled.
Please.
I'm thrilled with what's happened. I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. I love the expression that when you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. And that's where I feel I'm at. Okay. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah. When you love your work, it's nice. How long would you say it took you to become financially viable in the business?
I'd say about 9 months to a year.
Okay.
Where it was for me. It was I had some other things going on, of course. Taking care of my mom, and I've got stuff taken care of, and my energies were kind of branched out.
Yeah. 9 months to a year though is a nice. That's a quick start.
Yeah, I was fortunate.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is the kind of the things that are important is location, where you're at. Are you around folks who are open to the modality? Are you in an area where you can connect with people who are interested in giving Neuroptimal a try, and getting out there to find those people.
Yeah.
They won't come to you if you don't get out there.
Yeah.
Right? Or have some other way of bringing them in.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Any final thoughts you want to share?
No, I'm just actually so thrilled. I really appreciate you bringing me into your podcast here. I love talking about Neuroptimal. I take advantage of my mentor, Catherine Boyer's experience and guidance in that regard. She loves talking about Neuroptimal. I learned a lot from her, and I love talking about it as well.
Good.
And, sharing the experience with as many people as possible. And I'm grateful to you for giving me that opportunity today.
I'm grateful you were a part of this today, and it is really nice to meet you too. All our texting back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Craig.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Mary.
Take care.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.